Chad, what's going on? What's going on, man? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Man, make sure my sound good before we get started. Make sure everything good on my end. How y'all doing? Give me 1 second. Make sure my sound good before we get started. Make sure everything good on my end. Second. Everybody good. Everybody good. How you doing? How you doing, man? Good morning. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. How you doing? How you doing? I do appreciate y'all tuning in. I do appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Listen, this whole situation, we just gonna talk about David maybe for like 30 minutes. Um, I'm not gonna be online too long. You know what I mean? Probably like an hour, hour and a half. Um, I wasn't planning on being online to be honest with you. I went out tonight, went to a bar, had a couple drinks. You know what I mean? Had a couple drinks tonight. You could tell by my eyes, I'm a little weak. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little weak, but the show must go on. You know what I'm saying? The show must go on. Um, no days off. I remember continue to keep you updated on the situation, the David case, because it's a very scary and sad situation. You know what I mean? The singer David, you know, has been arrested for allegedly killing his girlfriend. You know what I mean? His underage girlfriend. She was about 14, 15 years old. And so they got him charged with murder. You know what I mean? They charged him with first degree murder. You know what I mean? And today they had a quick preliminary hearing. It wasn't preliminary, but it was something going on that I didn't even know about. That they had a court case today, and come to find out that TMZ and the prosecutors came out and found out that David had some child, not the P word, but corn on his phone. You know what I mean? That's very, very sickening. You know what I mean? And because the girl Celeste was like 13, 12 years old when they kind of met her with him. You know what I mean? And when they was together. And she was about 14, maybe 15 years old um, when she got killed or whatever. So this whole case has been, I don't want to say a roller coaster, but so far it's kind of been wild. It's been wild and it has been sad. You know what I mean? And it's scary as well because like this guy was like a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? So it's like easy for him to get somebody to be a fan of his. You know what I mean? Be a fan of his and also to get somebody lure somebody to his crib or whatever. You know what I mean? So this whole situation is wild and sad, and I do hope her family get the justice that they need. But then again, it's like I'm saying all that, and before all this stuff came out, I already thought like, okay, this guy's guilty. You know what I'm saying? But all the evidence that came out with this guy, you know what I'm saying? Her body and stuff like that being in his trunk of his car registered to him, his Tesla, in front of his house. You know what I mean? And all the evidence kind of proved that, in my eyes, at first proved that this guy is guilty. You know what I'm saying? But then again, it's like everybody's innocent until proven guilty. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's innocent so far until they're proven guilty. You know what I mean? So right now, me and millions and millions of people can say, you know what, this guy's a sick person, guilty person. But then again, we just don't know. You know, we just know what the prosecutors came out and said. So we have to really, really understand and see what they all going to bring to trial. You know what I mean? So they do have a preliminary hearing May 1st and really see, I don't want to say most of the evidence, but some of the evidence that they're going to come out and bring May 1st. So, you know, I just want to go over that, man. Just want to go over this, what they brought up today about him having stuff in his phone. You know what I mean? I play a couple of videos and that's about it. I'm not going to keep you online too long. You know what I'm saying? It's 4 a.m. and I should have been sleeping by now. But, you know, like I said, man, I went out to a bar and I had a couple of drinks. You know what I'm saying? So right now, if you see me slurring over my words, you know what I'm saying, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I do apologize about that. But and then before we get started, man, how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? 4 a.m. in the morning, y'all at work? What y'all doing? Y'all up late? Doesn't matter what y'all doing. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I am a very small YouTube channel. I work a lot, nursing school and stuff like that. So I don't make too many videos to be live like that. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate y'all tuning in and coming to my channel, man. Like and subscribe, and I really, really do appreciate that. You know, enough said, man. My little intro was a little long, but let's get into it, man. So, like I said, man, the singer David. You know, today was like a short preliminary hearing they had today. You know what I mean? And a short preliminary hearing they had, and it come to find out that the prosecutors came out and said that this guy had some corn. I'm not gonna say the P word, but corn in his phone, which is crazy and sickening. You know what I mean? So let's read this TMZ article and look at some couple news clips. Let's get into it. So, it says prosecutors on David phone choke full of child, you know, the P word. So, David's iPhone contained a ton of child pornography, at least according to the prosecutors. The singer was on in court Thursday, exactly 1 year to the day when the prosecutors claimed he murdered Celeste Rivas for a status hearing on his upcoming preliminary hearing, which a judge set for May 1st. So, as we see right here, they won't allow, the judge said today that she won't allow cameras in court. So we're just gonna get people who's on Twitter and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Telling us what's going on in news reporters. So this right here is David who's been in court. It says during the hearing, prosecutors claimed they went through his phone and found a significant amount of child porn. It's unclear if the alleged CP features Celeste. Prosecutors already revealed their wiretap was involved in the investigation. They said the wiretap took place last year, but there were no other specifics. David was shackled and wore an orange jail jumpsuit. He was calm, cool, and collected, and looked kind of bored. He spoke briefly to the judge, telling her, "Yes, ma'am," as she explained to him how the preliminary works. David's high-powered defense team, led by Blair Burke, told the judge prosecutors had not turned over the evidence, and LA County Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman explained the delay. Prosecutors revealed there were three separate investigative grand juries, and it sounds like those transcripts will become available at some point. As reported, David pleaded not guilty early this week, and his defense challenged the DA to put their cards on the table or fold, demanding an immediate preliminary hearing. You know, that's one thing I was kind of, um, let me see. You know, that was one thing that was kind of shocker to me that, you know, David lawyers wanted to have the preliminary hearing pretty pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? Um, let me see if I can pull this up right quick. If I can. They was in court Monday. Let me see. I know TMZ had it. I don't want to. Hold on, let me see. Uh, Give me 1 second, guys. I think I deleted it. I think I deleted it. I sure did. Let me see. I'm just gonna play a small clip of his lawyers in trial. Um, okay, I think this is it right here. So when he was in trial Monday, this is when they charged David for first degree murder. His lawyers kind of shocked me and a lot of people that I seen online, even former lawyers, saying that, she want the trial to be a speedy trial, not a speedy trial, but she want everything fast or whatever. And I just want to play a small clip of it.
Good afternoon, Mr. Burke.
Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman for the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. And counsel, on behalf of your client, do you waive formal reading of the complaint, advisement of rights, including armed forces and veterans' rights, enter a plea of not guilty, denying any and all special allegations, enhancements, and priors?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're requesting a preliminary hearing within the period?
Yes, Your Honor. From the media reports, apparently there have been 4 months of secret grand jury proceedings. We believe that Mr. Burke is entitled at the earliest opportunity to an open preliminary hearing and the proceedings not be done in secret. So we are asking for a preliminary hearing to be set at the earliest possible date on the 10th day. Your Honor, we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like,
certain words like that right there that she said, he didn't murder her, of course, but he wasn't the cause of her murder. That would tell me, and let me know in the chat if y'all feel the same way, that when she said he wasn't the cause of her murder, to me, that means that, okay, he wasn't the cause, but he knew who did it. And when all this information came out, I also thought, like, you know what? I don't think this guy was the only person that, killed her or whatever. Leslie killed her. You know what I'm saying? And because it's like, I thought he went on tour, after they found his car. You know what I'm saying? Her body was decapitated and stuff like that, put in bags in his car, and he was in front of his house in his car. I thought that was crazy. So I'm like, I don't think he was the only one. But let me know in the chat if y'all feel the same way.
to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor.
Anything from the people?
We'll be very happy to put on the evidence that we've collected in this case in the last several months.
Thank you. So the matter will be set. Plea of not guilty has been entered on behalf of Mr. Burke. The matter will be set in Department 105. The matter is ordered assigned to Judge Charlene Almeida in Department 105 for all purposes by the judge of the supervising judge of criminal.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may just put on the record, we have, as soon as the people arrive, delivered a informal discovery request consistent with Penal Code Section 1054.
So that right there was Monday. You know what I mean? It come to find out the prosecutors had about 40 terabytes of information from David's computer, cell phone, DNA and all that type of stuff. And like I said today, they found out that, they've been new, but they come out and said that this guy had, corn on his phone, which is pretty sad. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna play a clip from Law and Order. I'm gonna try not to play the whole thing, but they do breaks it down a lot. You know what I'm saying? Of the stuff that they found out, and let's get into it, man.
when all of this happened.
Podcasting shouldn't stress you out. Stop. Riverside is all you need to produce a high-quality podcast.
Court today, along with a team of LA prosecutors, and our on-the-ground reporter, Dina Dahl, was inside. There are no cameras. She is our eyes and our ears. We're going to talk about what was discussed in court and what authorities said they allegedly found on David's devices. And I will tell you right now, shocking. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Look, before we even go any further, I got to tell you about this Law and Crime legal alert, okay? Roblox. Roblox is under fire for allegedly not taking adequate safety.
I run a podcast solo. No producer, no editor, no tech skills, just Riverside.
Sponsors are seeking justice for the families that were affected by this alleged gross negligence. In the David case, by the way, on the 1-year anniversary of when prosecutors say, when they claim he killed 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And by the way, we expected today to be a preliminary hearing where the court will hear evidence if there's enough probable cause that these alleged crimes were committed to move forward with the case. It's a legal barrier, lower standard, low bar, but you have to show that there is sufficient probable cause that he committed these crimes, and I'll talk about which ones he's charged with, to move this case to the next stage. Here's the thing, wasn't a preliminary hearing today. No, it turns out, even though a preliminary hearing was on the court calendar, this was more of a status conference. It's a check-in regarding next steps in the case. Now, if you thought that this was going to be a 2-minute hearing and that was it, not the case. No. We are going to get into specifically what authorities claim they found on David's devices. I wonder if this is a whole new game here. I wonder if now we're talking potential federal charges, if those allegations are true. I'll get to that. But before we even get into what happened today, I just got to give you some context about this, okay? So we have talked about this before. Remember, when I'm mentioning a preliminary hearing, which I understand has now been scheduled for a later date, this goes back to the idea of the grand jury. We know that there were reports that a grand jury was impaneled to hear evidence in the case of this 21-year-old singer, but there was no...
You know, granted, they had 3 grand juries before they really charged this guy. I think they had one in October, December, and I think February. They had about 3 grand jurors. You know, and also I want to bring this up that, you know, it's been 7 months now that, you know, Celeste was dead or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And now they bring in charges to arrest this guy. 7 months. Now think about that. 7 months they had all this information. You know what I mean? 7 months they had all this information. And now, last Thursday, a week ago, that they decided to charge this guy. In my eyes, that's kind of crazy. They had all the information, especially the child corn information. That was a reason to arrest this guy right there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
No grand jury indictment, right? There was no formal charges. No, instead, at the beginning of this week, the Los Angeles County District Attorney, Nathan Hochman, his office filed first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains charges against David in connection with the death of Celeste. Remember, her decomposed and dismembered body was reportedly found September 8th, 2025 in the trunk of a car allegedly registered to David, real name David Anthony Burke. And he's also facing special circumstances allegations, right? Lying in wait, killing for financial gain, killing of a witness, using a sharp instrument, all with respect to the murder charge. And this is significant because this can carry heavier penalties if he's convicted of the murder charge. We're talking life in prison without the possibility of parole. We're talking the death penalty, even though there is a moratorium on executions in California. But this is why it's so significant, why the prosecution believes they have evidence to prove that. And the main idea here is essentially that David allegedly killed Celeste because she was going to expose him potentially about their illegal underage sexual relationship. I think that's the fair argument. And that this was going to affect his career, which was on the rise. Remember, he was on tour when all of this happened. Now, as we learned yesterday, when the autopsy report was released, that Celeste's official cause of death was multiple penetrating injuries, and her manner of death was listed as homicide. We did a whole side.
You know, granted, so the autopsy report came out yesterday, and it showed that, you know, her body was decapitated. You know what I'm saying? Also put in bags and stuff like that. And her and David had a matching tattoo on one of the fingers, and it says "shh." That's what it says, "shh," and it was removed. You know what I mean? So that was evidence right there. You know what I'm saying? But with all, man, like I say, they had all this information 7 months ago, about seven for about 7 months, and now they decide to bring charges. I don't know. I'm kind of confused about this whole situation. You know what I mean?
Sidebar yesterday with forensics examiner Dr. Mary Jimbelik. It's up on YouTube right now, up on our Long Crime YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. Oh, and by the way, the full autopsy report, if you want to go through the details, if you want to see it for yourself, it's up on our app, Law and Crime Plus, as well, if you want to check it out. I actually think it's significant that we're putting these case files on the app because, look, unfortunately, in today's day and age, there's a lot of misinformation. There are a lot of AI tools someone can use to make fake reports or fake information. This is the official released autopsy report. It's up on Law and Crime Plus, so you can check it out there. But bottom line, David was charged by the DA's office, but in order for this to move forward, in order for this to go to a trial, there has to be a legal determination that there is sufficient probable cause that David committed these crimes to move forward with this case. Again, lower standard, and if it's not by a grand jury, then it needs to be by a judge at a preliminary hearing. And by the way, preliminary hearing is a little bit different than a grand jury because grand jury proceedings are secret. The defense doesn't have an opportunity to challenge that evidence. Preliminary hearing in court, in front of a judge, defense there. They get an opportunity to fight back against this. But anyway, brings us to today.
I had 2 teeth that had been just hanging on by a thread and just needed attention.
This courthouse in downtown LA. By the way, just talking about a preliminary hearing for a second, David's attorneys, his defense attorneys, pushed for a preliminary hearing immediately. They have said that he didn't commit this murder. They have said that he was not the cause of her death. But what happened today? Now, look, there were no cameras in the courtroom. The good news, we have our own eyes and ears, okay? We have our own eyes and ears. Attorney and legal analyst Dina Dahl was in that courtroom. So good to see you, Dina. Thanks for taking the time. First of all, I need you to clarify what this hearing was, because I think a lot of us thought this was going to be the preliminary hearing. We thought that was on the calendar. That was not the case, even though they did talk about when the preliminary hearing is going to be scheduled, right?
Absolutely. It was calendared as a preliminary hearing, but the judge at the outset said, I'm sure that's not actually going to start today. Let's talk about it. And that's exactly what they did, scheduling it. And most importantly, talking about the discovery, the transferring of what seems to be a mountain of evidence from the prosecution to the defense and the logistics of how that's going to happen.
And I want to get into that because quite the headline, what was allegedly found on either David's phone or his devices, which we'll get to. But the preliminary hearing is scheduled for next week, right? And is this because there's just, like you said, there's so much evidence to go through, there's so much data to go through?
Well, this is significant. They have not waived their right to a speedy preliminary hearing. The very last day it could be under law was May 4th. But the judge said, I don't like to schedule it that last day because there could be unexpected circumstances just with the court system in general. So they have scheduled it for May 1st.
Let's see if I can get to the damn topic of where they found his phone.
Today, did they talk about that? Because
The specifics of the medical examiner's report.
Potential federal charges? You and I both know who was portrayed in these. I read there was something about a wiretap and search warrants.
Exactly. They said that there was a significant amount of evidence collected in a wiretap. There was also 3 different investigative grand juries, one convened in November, one in December, and one in February. The prosecution really trying to convey to the judge how much evidence they have and the difficulty of it to be able to be transferred to the defense that quickly. They did say, however, that they plan on handing the defense tomorrow arrest records, photographic evidence, chemical evidence reports, and DNA evidence reports.
Wait a second. Let's just take a step back here. we were debating whether or not there was a grand jury that was going to be investigating this case, right? Locking in witness testimony, gathering evidence, that they didn't have the power to indict. That was one thing. Now we're learning there were multiple grand juries that were all in this investigative function. Not one of them had the power to indict.
That's what came out today. The prosecution said specifically investigative grand juries without the power to indict. And they said it was up to the defense to request that these records be unsealed.
And the latest grand jury was what, February?
That's what they said. February was the latest one.
What was the vibe in that courtroom? Let's start here. What did David look like?
So when David they were not right, I would say, in
For today.
absolutely years, perhaps a way a very strange.
They're not talking about what I thought they was going to talk about. Let's see. Give me 1 second, Chad. Give me 1 second. I thought they was going to talk about when they found his phone. I guess they talking about other stuff. Let me see if I can. I know I had a news clip. How about this?
Artlist Studio is here, and it has controls built with video creators in mind, so you can intuitively direct any dream production.
By prosecutors.
Good morning.
Well, chilling new details. The singer David Berg faces a judge in the murder case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The hearing happening 1 year to the day the young victim was last seen alive. CBS LA's Jasmine Veal in downtown LA with what could be a massive digital trail leading to trial.
Singer David Berg in court Thursday, shackled and in an orange jumpsuit. A camera was not allowed, saying only "Yes, Your Honor" when asked if he understood the point of the hearing. Prosecutors are accusing Berg of killing Celeste Rivas Hernandez to cover up their sexual relationship, allegedly starting when she was just 12 years old, revealing in court that David's phone contained a significant amount of child pornography.
It's a separate crime itself. I wouldn't be surprised if the feds step in.
Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani says despite the 7 months it took to arrest and charge Burke, prosecutors have a strong case with so much evidence gathered.
So I think what the DA's office was doing is put David's friends, his entourage members, before the grand jury, lock down their testimony under penalty of perjury so they don't change their story and go sideways at trial.
Outside court, people who developed an interest in this high-profile case showed up to stream updates and demand justice for the teen girl.
A lot of the times, because it's a celebrity, they ignore the actual victim, and I always put her name down. And it's justice for Celeste Rivas.
Thursday's hearing coming 1 day after the release of the medical examiner's report. The report saying the 14-year-old died of sharp force trauma, but the autopsy was made difficult because of the severe decomposition of her dismembered body when it was found in.
We also got to remember that I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody let me know in the chat that I think this is the second autopsy examiners, because the first examiner said that they couldn't really tell how she kind of died or whatever. Was it really a homicide? You know what I'm saying? And the LAPD prosecutors or whatever end up trying to not force them to really come out and say, listen, this is how she died and David did it or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like it was kind of a back and forth between the medical examiner and prosecutors and LAPD of really explaining like how she really died. You know what I'm saying? Somebody let me know in chat if I'm wrong about that, because I sworn I thought I heard about that.
Bags in the singer's abandoned Tesla last September. The Rivas family stating they would not be attending Thursday's hearing after learning of her horrible and gruesome death.
I was horrified. I cannot imagine her family hearing this.
Prosecutors believe Rivas Hernandez died 5 months earlier in April.
We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
On Monday, Burke, known by his stage name David, pled not guilty to the capital murder charges. He was arrested last Thursday. Another status hearing is scheduled for next Wednesday, and then we could see a possible preliminary hearing happen May 1st. No statement came from the Rivas family. Here in downtown LA, Jasmine Veal, CBS LA.
Like I said, man, this whole case is wild. You know what I mean? It's sad and it's crazy. You know what I mean?
By prosecutors?
Good morning, Jamie. And that is a big development. Obviously, we don't know if it's Celeste Rivas's images and videos or something else, but that is a significant offense. Obviously, it helps prosecutors prove the sex crimes, the lewd and lascivious, Penal Code Section 288, but it's also a separate crime in and of itself, and it's certainly the possibility that the feds even step into this case because they typically will prosecute these types of child pornography cases.
And Nima, from the beginning, we know that his attorneys, David's attorneys, the defense, wanted to speed things along and demanding a preliminary hearing begin next week. What do you make of why the defense appears to want to rush things?
Rachel, that's highly unusual. I got to tell you that in almost every case, the defendant and his or her attorney, they waive time because, of course, the defendant has a right to a speedy trial. So the way it works here in California, if you're in custody, you have a right to a preliminary hearing or a prelim within 10 court days or approximately 2 weeks. And if you're out of custody, that number is 60 days. Almost always, the defense wants time to review the discovery, and here we know there's terabytes of data so they can prepare their defense. But here, Blair Burke wants an immediate prelim, which is not typical. I think the defense thinks that the prosecution is not ready, and that's why they're taking this unusual procedural move.
It's just so interesting now that we're hearing some of the evidence. I wonder if they'll maybe change how they feel about things. If they do change how they feel about things, can they go back on it, or are we now kind of down the road?
No, they haven't waived that right entirely. So obviously, if the defense goes before the judge and says, you know what, we need more time to prepare our case, the judge in almost every instance will grant that request, because if they don't, it's a potential issue on appeal. Obviously, as the evidence comes out, if the defense starts to realize, well, there's a lot of digital evidence, there's video, there's cooperators. Obviously, we got the medical examiner report yesterday. If all that looks very bad, they may think their strategy, and I don't know what the strategy is going to be, that someone else did this or that Celeste died of some sort of accident, maybe a drug overdose, but they're going to have to put on some defense in this case. They're not just going to be able to attack the prosecution because, again, the evidence that the district attorney has revealed so far seems pretty damning for Singer David.
Well, as you just said, Nima, the cause of death released yesterday along with the autopsy results, which were, of course, very disturbing.
Yes.
And then today we have the information about the alleged child pornography on his phone. What is the strategy here? I feel like the information is coming out bit by bit. What is the prosecution strategy?
I think the prosecution's strategy is certainly going to be shock and awe. Obviously, I'm not going to repeat some of those gory details of really tragic death for this young girl. But I think the prosecution is obviously going to start with the motive. And I think the motive here, based on Nathan Hochman's press conference, is that this was a sexual relationship. Obviously, 14-year-olds cannot consent to any type of sexual activity. And that Celeste was going to out David, report him. And of course, that would completely derail and ruin his music career. And he took vengeance upon her and he killed her. He stabbed her. Now, even though the Emmy was unable to specifically identify the murder weapon, and we don't have one, I think it's pretty clear, reading between the lines, that it seems that the prosecution's theory is that she was stabbed with a knife.
Well, speaking of the medical examiner's report, Nima, very hard to read and very disturbing information came out as to the believed cause of death. I believe it was sharp force trauma. What does that mean? Can you explain to folks out there what exactly that means?
Well, Celeste's body was decomposed. She was murdered in May, and it wasn't found, and it was dismembered, multiple pieces, until September of last year. So the ME's report said that because the body had been dismembered and had decomposed, it was difficult to determine, but there were multiple sharp puncture wounds. And again, that seems to be consistent with a knife, scissors, something to that effect. And there was also a significant discussion of the toxicology in that report, which was inconclusive. Now, there were reports of alcohol and drugs in one examination, and a second examination didn't necessarily reveal those same things. And that's important because, again, I think one of the possible defenses here is an accidental drug overdose. And then David panicked, and then that's why he dismembered the body and put it in the frunk of his Tesla. So I think that's an important part of the Emmys report as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Nima, we.
Wow, I did heard about that. That it probably was like an overdose. I did heard about that. That it probably was an overdose of her just doing drugs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So he probably panicked and allegedly killed her. You know what I mean? But one of the charges that they said that I never even heard about was lying in the wait. And that meant was that she was going to expose this guy to the world or FBI, whoever she was going to expose this guy to, and he killed her because he didn't want her to ruin his fame, ruin his chances of going on tour, continue to make millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying, ruin himself to the fans and stuff like that. So she was going to expose this guy for them having some type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I want to say, and it might be controversial, but if that is true that she was going to expose this guy and she being about 13, 14 years old, that kind of tells me, granted, controversial. That kind of tells me that she know, okay, this guy older than me, and I know I'm dating an older guy. You know what I mean? In my mindset, that kind of tells me that even though I'm not blaming her because she's a kid or whatever, such and such, but I'm just saying that if that is true, that she was lying in the way, that she was going to expose this guy for dating her or whatever, that means she kind of has some sense of, damn, you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm dating an older guy, so I'm going to expose this guy. So that means she kind of has some sense of this is wrong. You know what I mean? And this video kind of backs up what I'm kind of saying right here. If I can pull it up, if I can find that video of her and David, um they was online and she said something about rape or some shit like that. Let me see. Okay, no, that's not it. Let me see. Because there's many videos of them, but okay, I think this is a video right here that kind of resurfaced of Celeste jokingly accusing him of raping. So listen to this right here. So this is Celeste right here, and this is David.
Where's your media
I personally don't.
Yo, I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of.
So she said it right there. Controversial of the all word raping kids. That's what she said.
Really good.
Okay,
it's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything. Take that one off. Where's your media?
I personally don't.
Yo, I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of.
You know what I mean? So that tells me right there, she know what the fuck was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand she's a kid and all, but that right there tells me, okay, this guy older than me. She know about raping and stuff like that. She know, you know what I mean? Even though I'm blaming this guy for dating her and stuff like that, but that right there and what they charging with, that she was going to expose this guy, that kind of tell me right there a small percentage of her knowing her dating this guy, an older guy, that it was wrong. Not to blame her, but I'm just saying, I gotta point that out. You know what I mean? I gotta point it out. Crazy. Crazy and sad, man. Let me see if I can play a couple of videos of, let me see. So I don't know if this is her videotaping him or not. I'm not sure, but there's some more photos and videos of them. Let me see.
Why are you doing this, yo? This is not the... Why are you doing this, yo? This is not the...
So, like I said, man, this whole um, David case is just a wild, sickening situation between them. But let me know your thoughts in the chat, man. What y'all think about this whole case? You know what I mean? Do y'all think this guy going to be found guilty and he might get the death penalty, or it's still a long chance for this guy to be not guilty? Let me know your thoughts in the chat about that, because before all of us, before everything came out, I already thought this guy was guilty. I said at least 95% that this guy was going to be guilty. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause all the evidence kind of prove that this guy's guilty. You know what I'm saying? Her body was found in his car, it registered to him in front of your house, videos, you know what I'm saying? And now the prosecutors got probably text messages and stuff like that. They already found child porn on your phone, even though I don't think none of that probably was of Celeste, but we know you got child porn on your phone, and you allegedly was dating this girl who was underage. So a lot of evidence already proved that, yeah, he's guilty. He's cooked. He's cooked. But I'm not a person to say 100% that this guy's cooked. You know what I'm saying? I can't say 100%, but I'm gonna say 95% that this guy's guilty. You know what I mean? Because there's always a 5% of the person not being guilty. And another thing is I want to say is that they charged this guy first degree murder. And in my previous videos that I made, that I said that what if they overcharge this guy? What if they overcharge him from first degree murder instead of this manslaughter or whatever? You know what I mean? Because like I say, it's a lot of evidence that we still haven't seen yet. You know what I mean? And they charged on first degree murder because other cases that the prosecutor ended up trying to charge the person, and next thing you know, the person might end up getting off scot free, or they might end up getting a very, very light sentence because the prosecutors overcharge him. That's my kind of way of thinking. Let me know in the chat what y'all think. Y'all think this first degree charge is overcharged, or this is the right charge that they needed to charge this guy of? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right, chat. Let me see, man. Let's talk about some other stuff, man. I don't know if I want to talk about that. Hmm. Let me see. Give me 1 second, Chad. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know why that keep popping up. Let me see. Chad, give me 1 second. Let me see if there's some other stuff that we can talk about. Um, Let me see. Let me show you. I follow my Instagram. It's not my. I got two Instagram. Let me see. I'm just looking for some topics to talk about, chat, before I get off here. There's some stuff to talk about. Hmm. Also, chat. Y'all can type in the comments and let me know if something um y'all want me to get my opinion on. Just type it in the chat. Let me know. Somebody said David turned out to be more Slim Shady than Eminem. Wow, no, it was 714. 7414. You really think so? David turned out to be more Slim Shady than Eminem. Wow, that's crazy. Nah, I think David is more sickening than Eminem. Because we already know growing up, well, my age, growing up or whatever, listen to Eminem. Eminem had a really Eminem really had a dark side to him. You know what I'm saying? He really had a dark side to him. Singing with his mother, his ex-wife, you know what I'm saying, daughter, stuff like that. Eminem really sickening situation. I don't know, Chad. I'm not finding nothing. Let me go to let me go back to TMZ. See if they what the hell they got going on. Hmm. Did y'all watch the NFL draft tonight, chat? So Storage Wars, this guy here ended up passing away. I remember this guy here. Um, Storage Wars. She's one of those main characters on the TV show Storage Wars. Right now, to be honest with you, I'm watching it. I'm watching it as we speak right now, which is crazy. Rest in peace to him, man. Rest in peace to him. I don't know if you ever watched that show, Storage Wars, on A&E channel, man. Like people have these, they bid on these storage, um, or whatever. You know what I mean? They bid like $500, $600, and end up finding some stuff. What's in that storage is theirs, but it might be worth a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So he was one of the people that was kind of on the show when it first started. So rest in peace to him. So it seems rapper, so it seems rapper Offset is in good spirits. So we already know rapper Offset got shot a couple weeks ago at a casino in Miami. So it seems he's in good spirits right now. It says Offset is shaking off a brush with death, saying he's back on the grind after being shot. Let's listen to what he had to say. If I can play it. That's true lyrically, but this dude is actually a killer. It seems. Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. I mean, it seems it seems he is a killer. You know, but in my eyes, I think he had help. You know what I mean? I think he had help. I don't think he did it by himself. You know what I mean? I really don't think he did all that by himself. Cut her up and stuff like that. Put,
You know that thing where you get an amazing.
you know what I mean? Put her in the car and stuff and just leave her right there. Nah, he had help. You know what I mean? I don't want just him to be arrested, but it seems he is the face of it and he is the name of it, name brand. You know what I mean? He's the famous one out of all of them. So of course they're gonna try to get him. You know what I mean?
What's up, Set?
What's up with it, Andy?
I don't know, man. You only got shot 6 days ago, and that was in Florida, and now you're here in LA. How the hell did you even get here? Like,
You know, we gotta keep pushing like the Energizer Bunny, man. Keep this shit pushing.
Like,
got time to be slowing down.
I mean, you got shot, and then you spent a day in the hospital. Then you were like, "F- it, I'm gonna do this concert." So you come out and you do the concert. This was legitimately 6 days ago. I don't. How did you get to LA with a hole in your a second butthole?
You gotta go G6, G5, sorry. Had them bring the bed out, lay on that thing for 6 hours, go to sleep. You cool.
Talk about. I mean, listen, adversity. I feel like, you know, a really smart person once told me. He said, "Have you ever noticed that you're not anxious at the airport? Meaning, I mean, you fly private a lot, but when you go to the airport or when you were on tour with Migos and things like that, it's like, okay, you get to the airport, you check in, you get through security, you get on the plane, and you're like, you got blinders on because you have a checklist, right?
Yeah.
Now, something like this happens to you, tragic, and all of a sudden, does your brain just go through checklists? Obviously, you're in pain, but number one, I need to get to the hospital, I need to get checked out, da, da. But it's like, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I don't even know how to ask you. Like, you got shot 6 days ago, and you're here in LA, back on your grind, and in between that, you did a concert. So, you know, you gotta at least give me some insight into your mind.
Gladiator mentality, man, you know. The show don't ever stop. At the end of the day, I was blessed enough to be able to still move, you know what I mean? So I'm still moving. I ain't really like, I didn't really have a checklist for it. I just felt like, okay, maybe I need to be ducked off a little bit more, locked in, working on my craft and figuring out what's my next move in the music. All the other shit was just like distractions and just getting in the way of just doing.
So we're seeing this guy is in good spirits. You know what I mean? Because they remember he got shot a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? He was shot at a casino by allegedly by another rapper, Little TJ. So this is kind of the aftermath of him being shot or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The aftermath. It's crazy, right? And the reason he got shot was allegedly because he owed another rapper some money. You know, but good to see him in good spirits, man. That's pretty dope. You know what I mean? That's pretty dope, man. Um, let's see what else. Let's see what else. See what else. See what else. Hey, Chad, how y'all doing, man? It's 5 a.m. in the morning. How y'all doing? Y'all still with me? So it seems NBA legend Paul Pierce seems to be admits he's the father of a 2-month-old baby. That's for joint custody. So Paul Pierce used to play for the Celtics, Boston Celtics in the NBA. You know, he played for the Brooklyn Nets and LA Clippers, but his main one who won the NBA championship a few years ago was the Boston Celtics. It says no longer a question of who is the baby daddy because Paul Pierce is admitting he fathered Princess Santiago's child. According to the court documents obtained by TMZ, the NBA legend told the court he was the biological dad to the 2-month-old King Rafael Santiago Pierce. He asked for joint legal and physical custody. So I'm guessing this is the baby mom right here, and this is the baby. As repeatedly reported, she's asking for sole legal and physical custody, plus a hefty $29,811 per month. Wow. In child support, $100,000 in legal fees, and nearly $19,000 in pregnancy related expenses. Santiago filed a paternity suit in California back in January. She's also made sure to highlight Pierce's massive NBA earnings, claiming he pulled in close to $200 million during his NBA career as justification for the sizable monthly ask. Wow. So she's basically asking for 29, almost $30,000, basically $30,000 a month. Wow. That's crazy, Chad. That is crazy. You got some women probably probably get like $300, maybe $400 from, but probably with 2 kids from their baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? And you got women like that right there ask for 30,000. You got some women asking for $40,000 a month for 1 kid. You know what I mean? Crazy. Like what the heck? But then again, you know what? I'm not even mad. You know what I mean? I'm not even mad because these guys who've been in the industry a long time, the NBA, music industry, you know these women chasing y'all. You know what I'm saying? And not saying she's a bad woman or anything like that, but I'm just saying like it's a lot of women that chasing y'all to be with y'all, have y'all kid and stuff like that. But y'all continue to have sex with these women unprotected. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't judge nobody, man, but it's like, come on, dude. Like, come on, man. Really? You already got kids, but I'm just saying, like, why are you sleeping with this woman unprotected if you're not gonna marry her? You know what I'm saying? Like, which is crazy. But that's his kid, so you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta take care of that kid. You know, I'm just thinking like, dang, come on, man, really? Because you got a lot of women out here thinking like, you know what, this guy's a former NBA player. He's a multi millionaire. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get my money. You know what I'm saying? So it is crazy, man. It is wild. All right, chat. Let me see if I can find some other stories before we get up out of here. So I pull up World Star Hip Hop to find some crazy stuff that's online. Crazy stuff. This website here be having some wild stuff, man. I remember seeing this before. And let me know if y'all seen this as well, chat. So it says a 22-year-old, 3 feet 10 inches woman is looking for love and explains why her dates can't be too tall. I remember seeing this before. I think I saw this on SN. What the hell? I think it's Lifetime show or something like that. I can't remember what the hell I seen this shit on, but she was on there.
If it does get sexual eventually, I'm only 50 pounds. I would like to have them under 6 foot just because I don't want my head to be at their groin area.
Shauna is 22 years old, but her body has stayed the same as when she was 8. She wants to experience.
So we got a. I don't know, Chad. What y'all think about that? You know, she's 3 foot inches, and she's looking for love. You know, she's looking for love, man, and nothing wrong with trying to find love. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. You know, but you're gonna have some people gonna take advantage of her, which is pretty sad. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do applaud her for trying to find love. You know what I mean? I'm 6'1.5", and I'm still looking for love. You know what I mean? I'm 6'1.5", and I'm still trying to find love out here, man. So you just gotta be patient, man. You just gotta be patient. That's funny. All right, chat. I'm not gonna get offline, but I'm about to play the game for like maybe 30 minutes or so. So if y'all want to tune in for that, that's cool too. But right now I'm not. I mean, I'm not. And not really too much to talk about tonight, man. Um, Not really too much really going on in Topper's world. Um, Let me see. It's 5 a.m. and I am kind of getting drowsy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's see. Let me see. Let me look on Twitter. Oh, chat. Let me know if y'all seen this movie yet, man. The Michael Jackson movie. Let me know if y'all seen this movie yet. I don't. I'm hearing mixed reviews about this movie, man. I'm hearing mixed reviews about this movie, and I hope it's good. You know what I mean? I do hope it's good. For, I do hope it's really good because if it's not as good as I'm thinking it's gonna be, I'm gonna damn I'm gonna watch it in my crib on TV, one of those websites. You know what I'm saying? So let me know if y'all seen the Michael Jackson movie, or if y'all plan on going to see the Michael Jackson movie this weekend. Let me know because I don't want it to be terrible because I already seen movies that are really hyped up, and next thing you know, the movie is terrible. So let me know. Oh, what the? Yo, chat, y'all seen this? It says a Florida woman accidentally drove her pickup truck over a Lamborghini she didn't see in the parking lot. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Damn, she ran over that Lamborghini. That's crazy. Chat, y'all see this shit? Damn. How the fuck you ain't see that Lamborghini? How you ain't see that Lamborghini? Luckily, nobody got hurt, but how you didn't see that Lamborghini like that? That's crazy. Wow. That is crazy, chat. No offense to my women driving big trucks, but I said this before, man. Don't be driving no damn big ass truck if you know you can't drive that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be driving that shit, man. For real though, for real. Hey, chat, let me know if y'all ready for the Iceman album, man. Let me know if y'all ready for the Drake album coming out May 15th. May 15th, the Drake album is coming. It's coming, chat. Like, it's crazy. So Elon Musk is creating a car to be a cab. Wow, okay. I must say, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like a big fan of Elon Musk, but he's a pretty smart guy. And he be innovating a lot of shit in the world. I'm not gonna lie to you. He do. He do. I'm not gonna lie. Got some strong features in our face. Gee. So it seems Chiron Moore, who was the coach, who was the former coach of University of Michigan, who was fired, and he was in jail for messing with not an assistant, but I know a faculty staff of the university. And come to find out that I think she set him up or whatever. You know what I mean? And the police officer didn't really know that, and she didn't tell them that they was really talking like that in a relationship or whatever. You know what I mean? So he got arrested for it, allegedly going to her house and try to cure her or something like that. But that all wasn't true. And now she's coming out with interview about the whole thing. And let me see if I can play a small clip of it because I think the whole thing comes out Monday next week, if I'm not mistaken, on Good Morning America. So this is a small clip right here that they got circulating. It says exclusive ABC News, Lindsay Davis sits down with Paige Shriver for her first TV interview since the arrest of fired Michigan head coach Chiron Moore. Moore was sentenced to 18 months probation after pleading no contest to malicious use of a telecommunication device and trespass charges. Prosecutors dismissed more serious charges, including home invasion.
Did you fear for your life?
She accused former Michigan head coach Chiron Moore of breaking into her home and threatening her with knives. Now, Paige Shriver speaks out.
Yeah, this is something I didn't think I'd have to talk about, to be honest.
You think you should have gone to jail?
Tomorrow.
Did you tell anyone at the University of Michigan about this relationship?
On Good Morning America.
Did you feel
appropriate ABC
and exploitation? You faced years of harassment, manipulation, and exploitation at the hands of Chiron Moore. How so?
I mean, gosh, here's a man that had complete control over me, over my emotions, over my career, and he knew that, and he used it against me. Every time I tried to pull away, every time I tried to and get out of even Michigan, he always had a story, always had a way to pull me in and making me feel that I couldn't leave him because he was so miserable without me.
You can watch the
You know, no woman should go through any type of abuse of anything. You know what I mean? I mean, no man as well, but in this situation right here, this guy was married with 2 or 3 kids, and I think they're all girls. Granted, he cheated on his wife with her. You know what I'm saying? And I guess somebody found out, and Leslie, she ended up telling. The next thing you know, he got fired. And when he got fired or whatever, he ended up going to her house and I guess threatened her or something like that. I'm not sure. And come to find out, they saying he with a butter knife and all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of that stuff wasn't true. You know what I'm saying? It was basically her trying to kind of set him up because, like, the first call that she should have made was to the police officer. The first call wasn't to the police officer. The first call was to her lawyers. Why this guy there with a butter knife allegedly trying to harm you? You gonna call your lawyers? You're not gonna call the police? You know what I'm saying? And she knew this guy was married with kids. You know what I'm saying? So in my eyes, she kind of a homebreaker. You know what I'm saying? And now she coming up with an interview after everything. You know what I'm saying? So this whole situation is wild. And I blame Sharon Moore with this whole situation because, dude, you're married with kids and you signed a multi-million-dollar contract with one of the biggest universities in America, University of Michigan. You know what I mean? And they just won a national football championship a year ago before you got hired. You know what I'm saying? So situation is wild. You know what I mean? I blame him, but I blame both of them, but I blame him more because you're the man and you got a lot to lose. I'm not trying to throw race in it, but you're also a black man. You gotta remember that you're also a black man, and I gotta throw that in there because that's reality. And if I don't say that, then it's like I'm not being my true self. That you're a black man, you know what I'm saying? And you going through this right here. So 9 out of 10, they're gonna easily fire your ass. You know what I'm saying? So let me know in the chat if y'all think I'm wrong for anything I said. Let me know what y'all think about this whole situation, yo. It's crazy.
defined your journey?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just so blessed right now. You know, I just praise the Lord for every moment, really. It's a dream come true. I can't even believe this right now.
When you look out at those Philly fans and you think about the fan base that's about to embrace you with open arms, what will they love most about you?
In the door, this is ready to work.
All right, chat. It's 5 a.m. Listen, I'm not about to get off. Um, I'm gonna be on for another maybe an hour or so. Um, I'm just gonna play the game for an hour, then I'm going to sleep. I might come back online later on today. Right now it's 5 a.m. So I'm gonna play the game for a little while if I can play. I know sometimes my internet be acting up when I try to play, so I'm gonna try to play for like an hour or so. If you want to watch, I do appreciate that. You know what I mean? Watch me die. You know what I'm saying? Watch me get killed or ass at times. I'm not that great, but I'm still learning, but in all chat, I do appreciate y'all tuning in. Whoever watch, make sure y'all like and subscribe. Um, I'm gonna try to definitely go live more. You know what I mean? I am a small YouTube channel. So continue to watch my videos and stuff like that. And make sure you subscribe. Again, I do appreciate y'all tuning in 5 a.m. in the morning. Thank you for watching my channel, man. I do appreciate that. But once again, I'm not about to get off live. I'm gonna stay live for like an hour and a half. About to play the game. I'm about to use the restroom. But if you want to get off live, I do appreciate that. Make sure you continue to tune in, man. Until then, peace.
other